Yep, ready to go.
Move to the right in file. Right, turn. By the front. Quick, march.
What do we call them? Color turn?
Color party. Halt. Advance. Left, turn. Even numbers. One pace. Step back. March. Order. Colors.
Attention.
Step back a little bit, please. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, bunch of someone's coming in there. Pipes and drums and cadets. Line the left. Quick, march.
Well, good morning, everybody. Such a beautiful morning here for our ceremony. I would like to welcome you all here. That was now that our Legion Color Party members have assembled, and we've welcomed in here the Edmonton Police Service pipes and drums. Our ceremony is about to commence here, and I'd like to start by first announcing the arrival of Maureen Bianchini Purvis and Randall Purvis. And I'd now like to ask you to rise, please, for the arrival of Brigadier General Steve Graham, Commander, 3rd Division.
Color party. Carry color. March. Together, 1st Division. Present. March.
And if you will please remain standing as well for the arrival of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. The Premier's just making her way under the grounds. We'll just be patient here for a minute. We couldn't have asked for a better morning for this. I know for some of you who have perhaps joined us in the past, you'll recall a little bit different weather that we've been experiencing. So we're very grateful for a beautiful weather day here today. This is the 13th annual No Stone Left Alone ceremony here at Beechmount. And we would really like to say a big thank you to everybody for joining us again. And it's so nice to see so many students from so many schools here who have taken the time to come and honor our veterans. And they've also been learning a lot about our soldiers' history, military history and family history, and the towns that they're from all over Alberta. Won't be long now. I can see the Premier's vehicle is adhering to the speed limit as she arrives at the podium. And this is such an amazing ceremony. There will be 70,000 poppies laid by November 11th, with 13,000 students taking part. And that's what it's all about, are all you students who are here today. And you can't thank you enough for all the care and everything you've learned about our military and the respect you're showing. And just a reminder to please remain standing for the arrival of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith.
That's hard to hear in age.
And now it's a very much of a pleasure here. We have the arrival of Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Her Honor Salma Lakhani, with His Honor Dr. Zahir Lakhani.
Lieutenant Governor of Alberta.
and followed by Maureen Bianchini Purvis and Randall Purvis.
Present. Arms.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here, and welcome to the No Stone Left Alone ceremony from Beechmount Cemetery in Edmonton, Alberta. It's a real honor. My name is Gord Steinke. I'm your host today. This is the 13th year that we've been doing this commemoration at Beechmount, and we are just so happy. We're thrilled, actually, to have so many students and guests in person this year, as well as students, teachers, and supporters watching from right across the country. We are live streaming this event right now. So I just wanted to say welcome, everybody, and thanks so much for your support. We're now going to hear, to kick things off, from No Stone Left Alone President and founder Maureen Bianchini Purvis about why this program is just so important.
I think No Stone Left Alone is a new generational Canadian way to remember. Both my parents served in World War II. My mother with the Canadian Women's Army Corps, and my father was military police, and he served over in France. So after the war, we've settled here in Edmonton, and remembrance was always a big part of our family. And then my mother passed away when I was 12 years old. And we all had a few minutes with her before they took her to the hospital. And she asked me that day, she said, "Maureen, don't cry when I pass, but please, please don't forget me on Armistice Day." And that November, I took my poppy, and that was the first time I brought it out to her headstone as a promise to her, and I've been doing it ever since. And I made it part of my world, I guess, by doing that every year personally, whether I was with my boyfriend in high school, then when I met my husband, then when we had our children. It's just something I've always done, always made them come with me. And then years into it, I would bring the kids from where they rest up here to the cenotaph. And it was my youngest daughter. And she said one day, "Mom, how come they all don't get one?" And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to think about that and see if I can do that. I recently was in the battlefields for the first time in my life. And I don't want to get too emotional about it, but I've done this No Stone Left Alone for 13 years. And going over to Europe and seeing the decimation of what happened there, we can't see that because we just get to skip along because we've never had that conflict, because the guys went over and helped and then protected us here, and we've been protected ever since. Everybody wants to be remembered. When all of us pass, everybody wants to be remembered, but I think these guys need to be remembered more because they changed the world. So many volunteers across this country are really tapping in to the younger generation who was very removed not only from the history of what we've experienced here in Canada, but they really didn't have anything tangible to do on Remembrance Day. They might have stood at a cenotaph with their parents or grandparents, but they had no engagement. So my mission became, I want the kids to actually do something, to see it like I see it. When I come out here every year, I see it very differently. Last year we completed 236 ceremonies in every province in the country. We are in France, we are in the Netherlands, we'll be in Arlington this year. I think it just shows that when it's right to do something, everybody feels it and everybody wants to be part of it. It all takes work and it all takes money, unfortunately. And we really do need the support now, and I'm confident now that this program has a stamp on Canada that I don't need to shy away from asking anymore. I want to ask, please help us if you can. by giving so the program can grow, volunteering at one of your local cemeteries and local events that are going on, and research some of these people and help us remember them all, because there's a lot of headstones to remember here in Canada, and we really do want to leave no stone left alone.
Thank you very much, Maureen. I would now like to introduce Master Corporal Phoenix George, who will bring the land acknowledgement for us.
Amba washte, good day. Petato oenga wia michaje. As a Nakota wia from the Shegachin Oyate, Saskatchewan. I'm a visitor as well to this area called Amiskwichiuskagan, Beaver Hills House, the Cree name for what is now called Edmonton. I want to share with everyone today the belief of Mitakuye Oyasin. We are all related. We are all connected. We are not masters of this earth, but a part of it. It gives us life and the means to live. We must protect it not for ourselves, but for those who will come after us. We are standards of this land. Therefore, I wish to respectfully acknowledge the land on which we gather today is Treaty 6 territory. This area is the traditional and historical meeting ground that was traveled, protected, and respected, and called home by many diverse Indigenous peoples. This includes the Nehewak, Nitsitapi, the Nakota Sioux, Saulteaux, Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, Dene, the Métis Nation, and Inuit, and any other nation whose footsteps may have marked these lands for centuries. I acknowledge today that many of those who live and now work here come from different parts of Canada, and we are all bonded by a kinship established by treaty. I encourage everyone to understand your own role in the relationship with treaty, to the land, and to the ongoing process of truth and reconciliation. I end this with paying respects to all those who served, who fought, and those who died to protect this land and the people that we collectively call Canada. I will offer tobacco, one of the sacred medicines, as a way to honor and give thanks to the soldiers. Panamaya.
Thank you very much. And I would now like to introduce Christina Hollingworth, who will perform O Canada in Cree. Christina will be followed by the Edmonton Military Wives Choir, and they'll be singing the anthem in French and English.
Kakanetak kikino ketaskino sakahito en kichoa semasak kimamichenoak mamenchemoak kichika Nitisko Casidos Catinan No Tainan Gana Wilita Kakanitak Nitaskinan
Stendat, haste.
Well, I'd like to say that good morning again, everybody. Thanks for being here on such a beautiful morning. The purpose of today's event, I just wanted to outline, is twofold. This is being live streamed to students from across Canada, and it's to pass on the importance of our military history and also help them understand why it's so important to remember. The second focus, and the one that really makes a connection for young people with those who have served, students in attendance here today will lay poppies on the headstones of more than 4,000 men and women who served in Canada's armed forces and are buried right here in the Field of Honor. This act is repeated in over 200 locations across Canada now, as the No Stone Left Alone Foundation works very hard to honor all those who have served. From British Columbia to Newfoundland and communities in between, it's projected 70,000 poppies will be laid by November 11th, with 13,000 students participating. And I should mention that 100% of the funding, this is a nonprofit organization, 100% of the funding goes to No Stone, and everything is donated. So thank you so much. I just wanted to get that out from the organizers here, that your donations are very much appreciated. And actually, if you feel like donating this morning, and there's a QR code showing up on your screen, you can just follow the instructions. You can see the QR code on your screen now. A very special thanks to the students from St. Mary's School, St. Bernadette School, and Centennial School who placed some of those 4,000 poppies in a ceremony, and that was held last week. We have a message from Her Excellency Mary Simon, Governor-General of Canada, who is No Stone Left Alone's vice-regal patron, and I'm going to read that to you now. She says, "I am pleased to extend my warmest greetings to everyone taking part in the 2023 No Stone Left Alone ceremony. As Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, I have the pleasure and privilege of meeting with veterans and members of the Canadian Armed Forces serving across our country. Those who have proudly fought under the Canadian flag have shared their stories with me and told me about the harsh realities of war. Whether at home or abroad, in times of conflict or times of peace, whether serving in a long-term care facility during the pandemic or helping communities recover from natural disasters, our military has been there for us. And although hearing about their experiences can be difficult, it remains our duty to learn from them in order to build a better future for us all. I commend the students and the organizers of No Stone Left Alone for honoring those who have served or are currently serving our country to ensure peace, justice, and security for all. They and their families have made tremendous sacrifices for which we are deeply grateful. Lest we forget, Mary Simon." Well, now we are privileged to be joined today by Her Honor, the Honorable Salma Lakhani, the Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, to say a few words.
Color party, stand easy.
Thank you, God. I acknowledge all First Peoples who have called this place home for thousands of years and who welcomed us here to make our own lives. May we always dwell together on these lands with respect, understanding, and a sincere commitment to walking the journey of reconciliation and now reconciliation alongside our Indigenous sisters and brothers. Well, good morning, everyone. What a beautiful morning to be out here. I'd like to begin by thanking all of our students who are here with us at the cemetery, all those who are joining virtually, and those from across Canada. All of us are here for this special ceremony of remembrance. As we gather today to remember our fallen heroes in uniform who made tremendous sacrifices for us to enjoy the quality of life we are all blessed to have, I would like to make a request of our students who are placing poppies today. I would like you all to think about how you and other young people like you enjoy many, many precious gifts thanks to our women and men in uniform. These are gifts that we should never ever take for granted and for which we should always be eternally grateful. You young people are free to question, to explore ideas, to express yourself, and to choose what you believe in. You are free to learn and to create whatever future you imagine for yourself, regardless of your culture, gender, ethnicity, or religion. You are free to live in peace. Our men and women in uniform have bravely stepped forward to serve throughout history to create a better world for future generations, to uphold human rights so that each and every Canadian is able to enjoy the blessings of peace and freedom. We can all keep their legacy alive by doing whatever we can to make sure our schools, neighborhoods, and communities are welcoming, peaceful, and caring places. We can also show our gratitude to those who served by taking part in ceremonies of remembrance like this one, and by ensuring that every day we make the most of the gifts they fought for through our own thoughtful citizenship. I believe that our heroes would be extremely proud to know that future generations are continuing their mission to make our world a better place for all. As His Majesty the King's representative in Alberta, I offer my most heartfelt gratitude to all our Canadians in uniform for their tireless service. I would like to recognize and thank everyone at the No Stone Left Alone Foundation for your amazing work to keep this important program going strong, and to the teachers among us who make sure that our students have the knowledge, the encouragement, and the confidence they need to achieve their fullest potential. And thank you to all the students who are joining us here today. Finally, I'd like to give a special shout out to the president of No Stone Left Alone Foundation and the founder, Maureen Bianchini Purvis. We heard Maureen's story and how she started this initiative. This initiative was launched in 2011 as a small local event to educate students and connect them with participating in acts of remembrance. And look at it today, it's become a national and even a global event where people are placing poppies. Thank you so much, Maureen, for your commitment to remembering our heroes. Finally, to those among us who are grieving a fallen hero, may you find comfort in knowing that their proud legacies will continue to live on through wonderful programs like this one. May they rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Before our next speaker, I want to acknowledge some of the people who you see here every year, who are among those we are honoring here today, and they are the Color Party, those who carry the flags for this ceremony, and they are all veterans of our armed forces. And I wanted to just point out, you may notice that some of our Color Party are wearing blue berets. This signifies their service in peacekeeping missions all over the world, and this year marks 75 years of Canada's participation in peacekeeping missions. We now welcome Alberta Premier Danielle Smith to bring greetings from the province of Alberta.
Thanks so much, Gord, and good morning to everyone. As we prepare for Remembrance Day next week, it is a real honor to join Her Honor Salma Lakhani, Lieutenant Governor of Alberta, Brigadier General Steve Graham, Commander of the 3rd Canadian Division, my colleague, Justin Wright, who is our Canadian Armed Forces liaison representative from Cypress Medicine Hat, and all students, educators, and staff both here in the room and tuning in online and across the country. We owe a debt of gratitude to the veterans of today and yesterday. Canada is a free and democratic society because of the service and safeguards of the men and women who answered the call to stand on guard. And today we have the privilege to gather and remember the veterans who are laid to rest at Beechmount Cemetery in Edmonton. Not every soldier buried here or in one of the many veteran graves across Canada died young or in the war. Many came home to their families, lived their lives, and when they died, were laid to rest as a soldier, a veteran, a hero. And all of them served their country and bravely fought on behalf of their country. And every one of them was someone, a daughter or a son, a sister or a brother, a parent, a grandparent, a friend. Every one of them had a name and a life and a story. Every one of them must be remembered. And I'm grateful to Maureen Purvis for launching the No Stone Left Alone program to do just that, to ensure every Canadian soldier, sailor, and aviator is remembered for their courage, selflessness, and for many of them, the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Since its launch, the program has connected thousands of students across the country and even overseas with Canadian soldiers and their stories. Placing a poppy on the headstone is a simple act with tremendous meaning. It is an act of gratitude, respect, and remembrance, creating a connection between students and soldiers that I hope will last a lifetime. And each and every one of you who are honoring our veterans, whether it's here today in Edmonton or elsewhere in the country, is because of you that we will not forget their stories or their sacrifice.
Thank you, Premier Smith. We will now hear a special message from General Wayne Eyre. General Eyre oversees the Canadian Armed Forces from coast to coast.
Hello, bonjour. I'm General Wayne Eyre, Chief of the Defence Staff for the Canadian Armed Forces. And on behalf of every member of the forces and our veterans, I'd like to offer you my sincere thanks. Thank you for recognizing the contributions and sacrifice of our people in uniform, especially those who have given their lives so that we could have so much. Merci de reconnaître l'importance de ces souvenirs et d'en apprendre plus sur le courage dont ont fait preuve nos militaires canadiens afin de défendre les valeurs qui nous sont chères. And thank you to your generation for taking up the responsibility for remembering. For, to paraphrase the words of our great Canadian poet, taking up the torch and holding it high. It is difficult to describe how meaningful this program is to those of us in uniform. To see the poppies adorn graves across the country, as well as in Poland and in France, where so many Canadians gave up their lives for fighting for the freedoms of others. And now, this year, in the United States, at Arlington National Cemetery. Among those graves are the final resting places of Americans who served in Canadian military units, members of the U.S. military who died while serving under Canadian command, and Canadians who served with American forces. Every one of them a testament to the close friendship of our two countries. Vous rendrez d'ailleurs hommage à l'un de ces héros, le sergent Charles McGivory, au cours de la cérémonie d'aujourd'hui, même si la distance qui sépare sa ville natale de Charlottetown à l'île Prince-Édouard et le sol sacré d'un cimetière d'Arlington peut se mesurer en kilomètres. Dans la vie de ces soldats, c'est une longue route pavée d'honneur, de courage et du sacrifice ultime qui a été parcouru pour arriver à cette destination. By participating in this year's program, you're joining a large and growing movement of commemoration. Thousands of students strong, honoring tens of thousands of veterans. When we think of those buried in war graves, we often think of Canada's wars. The two world wars, the Korean War, Afghanistan. But this year, in particular, I'd like to remind everyone of the importance of remembering those who have served and too often died taking part in peace operations around the world. Every one of these operations was important, but one is of particular significance to me. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the Battle of the Medak Pocket, a battle that occurred in the former Yugoslavia. We were trying to implement a ceasefire between warring factions and slow the horror of ethnic cleansing. Two soldiers I served with lost their lives during that tour, and I, for one, will never forget them. I've had the chance to read some of your reflections from your fellow students who participated in the No Stone Left Alone program. They were all moving in their own way and have stuck with me. And I'd like to share two of them today. One student wrote, "Remembrance isn't something that should be done one day of the year. It should be something done every day." To that I say, yes. Yes, it should. Let's all commit to this, to learning more about our country's role in building peace and stability around the globe, both during wartime and as a value member of peace operations such as those that took place in the former Yugoslavia. Il y a une deuxième réflexion que j'aimerais partager avec vous. Un élève a dit au sujet de sa participation au programme, j'ai aimé faire partie de quelque chose de plus grand que moi-même. Ces mots résonnent en moi, puisque c'est aussi un sentiment que beaucoup d'entre nous en uniforme ressentent à propos de notre service militaire. The people who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces dedicate our lives to defending Canada and Canadians and our way of life. Because of this, and because of the service and sacrifice of so many who have gone before us, we live in a place where freedom, democracy, and the rule of law are respected. We live with the expectation that our human rights and individual dignity are recognized, valued, and assured. Beaucoup de gens dans le monde aimeraient vivre dans un tel endroit. Le fait que nous ayons cette chance est une chose que nous ne devrions jamais tenir pour acquise. Your acts of remembrance, today and every day, are deeply significant and profoundly moving. From a series of seemingly small individual actions, placing poppies on headstones, one by one, something great has been born, a renewal of remembrance that the entire country can admire and aspire to emulate. Thank you for participating today. Thank you for being part of something bigger than any individual. And thank you for remembering. Merci, lest we forget.
Thank you, General Eyre. I'd now like to introduce Brigadier General Steve Graham, Commander, 3rd Canadian Division. Brigadier General Graham is in charge of 12,000 Canadian Forces members from the West Coast to Manitoba and north to the Territories.
Well, good morning, everyone, on this brisk, beautiful Alberta morning that in many ways seems so appropriate given the reason that we're all here today. I'd like to thank Her Honor, the Lieutenant Governor, and our Premier, as well as all of the ministers, chiefs, commissioners, veterans, guests, and of course, all of the students for being here today. I'd like to build on what the Chief of Defence Staff just spoke about, how with another Remembrance Day approaching, soon Canadians from coast to coast will gather at cenotaphs, large and small, to pay their respects to the men and women who gave their lives over the history of our country to maintain the freedom that each one of us enjoys today. And as we gather amongst those graves today, honoring those who served, it's worth considering how will we remember them? How do we remember the over 120,000 Canadians who died trying to protect our country over the past 124 years? That's really what today is about. That is what Maureen and Randall have created, a way for us all to remember. These 120,000 men and women did not get to grow up and get married and have families and have careers and do all those things that all of us take for granted. They sacrificed their own hopes, their own dreams, their futures for us. And that's why I am so pleased to see all the students and young people here and online today being part of No Stone Left Alone. It really is up to your generation to ensure that we do not forget. As you put poppies on these headstones today, here across the country and around the world, take a minute to read the name, look at the age, look at the date they died. Think of the individual behind that headstone. Think about the conflict that they died in. South Africa, World War I, World War II, Korea, Afghanistan, and as of this year, 75 years of United Nations peacekeeping missions. I also ask you all just to take a minute and think about the thousands of currently serving Canadian soldiers deployed right now around the world. They are continuing that tradition of putting themselves in harm's way to ensure our way of life. If each of you do this, if each of you sees this opportunity, then we can collectively remember the fallen. So please do so. Don't let their sacrifices be forgotten. Let's make sure that the names, the faces, and the stories are learned and passed on and become part of our national history. As General Ayer just stated, we need to do this all together. And you being here today shows that you're taking the first step and you're doing your part. So thank you very much for doing that. We will remember them.
Thanks, Brigadier General. Great message. I would like now to move on here. We've got the Commitment to Remember coming up, which is being read by Cohen Gallant and Evelyn Cote. And they're from Summerhill Elementary School in Oromocto, New Brunswick.
Student Commitment to Remember. They were young as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember.
Promise de ce souvenir. Ils étaient jeunes comme nous. Ils ont servi donné généreusement de même. Nous promettons en début du temps qui passe de porter le flambeau et de ne jamais oublier. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
Thank you very much. Well done. And now we welcome Heidi Peacock from Riverbend Junior High School, reading In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Thank you very much. Well, the next part of our ceremony will be familiar to many of you, though some of the students watching may not know why we observe these traditions today on Remembrance Day. We're going to hear a military bugler play the last post. It traditionally signals the end of the day, and it serves as a tribute to the dead. We will hear a signal to mark the beginning of 2 minutes of silence as a time to reflect, and a sign of respect for those at home and abroad who have served in times of war. The silence will be broken by the playing of the lament to commemorate Highland regiments. And finally, we'll hear the bugler one more time, playing the rouse to signify waking up to a new day and the resurrection of the spirit of the fallen. We now ask those of you watching and in attendance at Beechmount to please rise as we start these events with Captain the Reverend Jennifer Renouf with a reflection of remembrance.
Respecting the individual beliefs and the conscience of all those present, I invite you into a time of reflection, contemplation, meditation, or prayer, recognizing all that we bring with us into this moment. Creator and sustainer of all humanity, we thank you for all who have labored for liberty, justice, and peace. For those who have given themselves in defense of freedom, mercy, and good faith among the nations. and for those who in life and death have protected our lives through whose sacrifice we have prospered. As we hold the dead in continual remembrance, enable us to walk with clean hearts, determined wills, and great hope, and help us to preserve the peace and fairness they defended. We pray with hope and trust in your mercy and grace. Amen.
Kingsway Legion Color Party, attention! Carry colors.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we shall remember them. We shall remember them.
Color party, order! Colors! Stand back, ace!
And thank you, Chief Petty Officer, Second Class Jesse Romero of the 152 Royal Canadian Sea Cadet Corps Resolute. That was the act of remembrance. And we just saw a fly past from 408 Tactical Helicopter Squadron, Aircraft Captain Captain Broden Francu, First Officer Captain Ben Kennedy, Flight Engineer Corporal Dan Watkins, and Door Gunner Corporal Travis Reimer. Thanks so much for that. The laying of wreaths is an important part of a remembrance ceremony. You'll see that wreaths have been laid already for several organizations. Well, right now, we'd like to invite Her Honor Lieutenant Governor Salma Lakhani to lay a wreath on behalf of the King, followed by Premier Smith, Brigadier General Graham, and also Maureen Bianchini Purvis. Now, once they've laid their wreaths, they are invited to join the students in the field of honor to lay poppies and encourage in this commemoration. After this, the remaining dignitaries are encouraged to acknowledge their wreath and then join the students as well. This year, poppies will be placed in the field of honor by not only students, but our dignitaries as well and other participants. So we invite those here with us today to please feel free to join the students in placing poppies and honoring our veterans. Students placing poppies today are from Annunciation World IB School and Riverbend Junior High School. Now, while we're placing poppies, we're going to hear the Canadian Military Wives Choir Edmonton performing We Will Remember Them by Edmonton composer Aaron Craig. And then we'll hear In Flanders Fields, music arranged by Roger Emerson to the powerful and familiar words of Dr. John McCrae. I'd like to thank each of you who is here with us today. It's been a beautiful morning. And I'd like all those watching at home in school or wherever you are, I hope that you'll take the time during Veterans Week to pause and to thank a veteran or a serving member, and also to visit a cemetery in your own community to honor the veterans there, and together we will remember them. Thanks for joining us.
Take them out and cherish them. Receive them into your gentle embrace. We bring you the bodies of our fallen beloved, beautiful even in their brokenness. We will remember them. We'll remember them. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn.